Okay, moving forward, we are reviewing Chapter 4. So for Chapter 4, I'm just reviewing how to solve inequalities. In Chapter 3, we solved regular equations. In Chapter 4, you're going to find it's very similar with inequalities. The main thing we have to look for is absolute value inequalities and negatives. So let's look over this and see if we even come across any negatives today. So the first two problems that I have here are they look like simple math, just instead of an equal sign, they have an inequality symbol. So in this case, I'm going to solve it like it's a regular equation and just simply bring down the symbol. So I'm going to add my 1. I'm going to have 2x is less than 6, divide by 2. I'm going to have that x is less than 3. I'm just going to draw my graph now. I'm going to draw a short graph. I'm going to do, I'm just going to put 3 right here. And then I'll put 4, 2, 1, 0. Now, this sign right here, it has no line underneath it. I accidentally just kind of drew one in trying to point out. This has no line underneath it, so because of that, it's going to be an open circle on 3. And then x is less than 3, so I'm going to look for all numbers that are less than 3. So it's actually going to go to the left here. So I'm going to draw myself a little arrow. Yours would be a lot easier. If you have inequalities, well, when you get inequalities, it's going to be matching, so don't worry too much about those. Just make sure that you're focusing on some of the basics here, like open circles, closed circles, and things like that. Okay, moving on to the next one. So here you can see, I already mentioned it, this is going to be a closed circle, but let's go ahead and solve it first. So I'm going to subtract my 2. I'm going to have 3x is greater than or equal to 6. I'm going to divide by 2, and I'm going to have that x is greater than or equal to 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Oh, I'm dividing by 3. Sorry. You would have caught that had we been in person, wouldn't you have? You would have just let me keep going and then get to the end and realize I was wrong. 6 divided by 3 is 2. I already have the answer in my brain. Okay, I'm going to draw my number line. I'm going to start again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to look here to see if it's an open or closed circle. It's a closed circle, so I'm going to fill that in. And x is greater than, because it's being eaten, so the little alligator always wants the larger number. So we're going to go to the side that is larger and draw our arrow. So let's move down to some absolute value ones. So absolute value ones are solved basically the same way. So I'm going to split this into two equations. So I'm going to have first x squared plus 2. I'm getting ahead of myself on this. So I'm going to have x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 3. And I'm going to have negative x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 3. If you forgot about that, go back, rewatch my video from yesterday. It's in chapter 3. It talks about how you have to do the actual thing and then the opposite of it as well. So you can see x turns into negative x, positive 2 turns to negative 2. So I'm going to solve both of these. So I'm going to subtract 2. I have x is greater than or equal to 1. And here I'm going to add 2. I have negative x is greater than or equal to 5. And then I have to multiply both sides by negative 1, which is actually going to change my symbol. So I'm going to have x is less than or equal to a positive 5. So for this graph, I need to do, let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So both of these are going to be closed circles because the original problem is a closed circle. So I'm going to put a closed circle on positive 1, and I'm going to put a closed circle on positive 5. So here I can see that x is greater than 1, so it's going to the right, and x is less than 5, so it's actually going to go in between them because it's got to be less or greater than 1 but less than 5. So those are the only options for that. Let's move on to our last problem for the day. So here you can see I have something outside of the absolute value, so I have to divide both sides by 2 first. And then I'm going to end up with the absolute value of x plus 3 is less than 4. So let's set this up into the two problems. So x plus 3 is less than 4. And then negative x minus 3 is less than 4. Minus 3, x is less than 1. Plus 3. Negative x is less than 7. We have to switch it. So it's going to be positive x is greater than negative 7. So here, I'm going to draw myself another graph. -8, -7, -6, -5, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1. Okay, this is an open circle because you can see it has no line underneath it. So I'm going to put an open circle on -7 and an open circle on +1. So here I know that x has to be less than +1, so it's going to move towards the left. But I know it also has to be greater than -7, so it's going to move towards the right. So they will end up meeting in the middle. Okay, that was a quick review over inequalities. Tomorrow we are going to look over chapter 5 and what it has to offer, and then Monday we will continue our review. So I will see you guys tomorrow.